day, colleagues. My name is Possible, and I will be your tutor for today. This semester, we are going to look at one of the most important topics you can never do away with, and that is ambiguity. Ambiguity is a topic of which you can never do away with. It forms about 50 to 60% of this semester's questions. Whether you like it or yes, you must master it. However, in this video and our subsequent videos, we are going to learn the concept called ambiguity. Ambiguity is not difficult at all, but it's a matter of you paying attention, sitting upright, grabbing a pen and a paper in your hand. Make sure to take notes. Do not be looking at it with your eye. Write. Take notes. So we are starting. Ambiguity. When you talk about ambiguity, we are talking about a grammatical expression or a situation whereby a linguistic unit can give two or more interpretations. And then these two or more interpretations are also recognized and accepted. So, anytime you talk about ambiguity, we are talking about a grammatical expression or a grammatical construction or a logical unit which could be interpreted in two or more ways. And at the same time, these interpretations are recognized and accepted. So anytime I say statement, and then the statement or the word could be categorized or could be interpreted in two or more ways, then we are saying that it is ambiguous. It is ambiguous in the sense that the word or the statement or the sentence could be interpreted in two or more ways. I have taken my time because getting to know this will help you to substantiate and differentiate between ambiguity, dangling modification, and misplaced modification. Now, I'm repeating it. Ambiguity occurs whereby a grammatical or a linguistic unit could give two or more interpretations. The emphasis is on two or more interpretations. And all these interpretations are recognized and accepted. So we are saying that ambiguous sentences means that the sentence is unclear. The sentence is unclear. It is confusing and can be understood in two or more ways. So the secret behind ambiguity is of the fact that the sentences could be, or the sentence could be interpreted in two or more ways. It could either be a word. It could either be a word or a sentence. So it is a phenomenon or a situation whereby a linguistic unit can give two or more. The emphasis is on two or more. Ambiguity is best known as wondering about something or being uncertain. It is best known as wondering about something or being uncertain. That is ambiguity. Now we have types of ambiguities and we have levels of ambiguity. When we talk about the types of ambiguity, it has been categorized into two. We have one, planned ambiguity. and unplanned ambiguity. But we have 3 levels of ambiguity. 3 levels. Types are 2. Ambiguity or ambiguities could be categorized into 2, planned and unplanned. But we have 3 levels of ambiguity. Number 1 is phonological ambiguity. Phonological ambiguity. When you talk about phonemes or phonological, the first thing to come into your mind is tonation. Tonation. How to pronounce. Pronunciation. So it's phonological ambiguity. The next one is lexical ambiguity. When you talk about lexis, way back in SHS and JHS, you used to have lexis and structure. Lexis and structure. Lexis is different and then structure is different. When you talk about lexis, we are talking about words. Words. How words come together in order to get a sentence. We'll give you the lexis. A group of lexis together will give you what is called structure. So when you put lexis together, words, combination of words will give you sentence. So lexical ambiguity. Then we come to structural ambiguity. Structural ambiguity. So we have 2 types of ambiguity and we have 3 levels of ambiguity. Let us quickly take our time and then look at these 2 types. The planned ambiguity. We are saying that this is the type of ambiguity that is mostly used by the politicians or comedians, musicians, and even in advertisements to achieve a certain effect. Sometimes in adverts, you will see that they are using some kind of words in one way or the other to lead you, the listener or the customer, your attention towards something. You see Vodafone, sorry to say, but I'm using it as an example. You might probably see Vodafone doing an advert, and then their color is red. And then probably they will say that don't buy this network, and then they will bring color yellow there. They have not actually mentioned one network's name. But when you see the yellow color there, your attention will be driven to a particular network. Probably you will see one network also doing an advert, and then that network also will bring color blue. When you see color blue, though they have not mentioned any network's name, but your attention will quickly be driven to a particular network. Sometimes on our campuses, it happens. When we are trying to project our various halls, we sometimes talk about a particular color and then we condemn a particular color. The fact that we are condemning that particular color proves that we hate that particular hall. It draws attention to the hall that we want to talk about. Though the hall's name has not been mentioned, but we are trying to draw attention to that. So that one is a planned ambiguity. Let us look at politicians. When are you constructing our bridge? Then they will answer by a simple sentence. It is in a pipeline. It is in a pipeline. So what does a pipeline mean? Are you talking about the pipeline that water used to run through in order to come to our various houses? Which pipeline are you talking about? A pipeline that we use to, one way or the other, pump water in order to quench fires, like the pipelines being used by the fire service or the firefighters? Which pipeline are you talking about? Then they will say, It is in a pipeline. That one is used by politicians. Musicians, they normally do that. Musicians do it a lot. I remember one local song being sung by this secular musician called Daddy Lumba. Daddy Lumba. It says that if my wife will die, then my mom is supposed to die. But the way he said it in a nice way, in such a way that if you don't commit it to much thought, you won't see it. So in music, that one also happens a lot. So that one is the plan ambiguity. Plan ambiguity. We also have an unplanned ambiguity. And we are saying that this one occurs in speech or writing. I hope it makes sense. So it happens in speech or writing, and then mostly it happens without the knowledge of the language user. And it normally happens in our ordinary speech and writing. So that one is called unplanned ambiguity. It occurs in speech or writing without the knowledge of the language user. And it normally happens in our ordinary speech and writing, of which the speaker may not even be aware of what he or she is saying. So unplanned ambiguity usually brings about miscommunication. It is a barrier to a proper communication, because the intended meaning is normally distorted. It is normally distorted. You see that the grammatical expression or the sentence lacks pellucid. It is not pellucid. 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 The clear meaning of it is being distorted. So that is how it is. So we have the unplanned and then we have planned as the two main types of ambiguity. Let us quickly look at the three levels of ambiguity. The three levels of ambiguity. Number one, we have phonological ambiguity. When you talk about phonological ambiguity, the first thing that has to come into your mind is sound or phonemes, sound phonemes, how to pronounce. We are talking about pronunciation, phonemes, phonological, sound phonemes. So we will look at it very well. The next one is called lexical ambiguity. When you talk about lexical ambiguity, the first thing that has to come into your mind is choice of keywords and their meaning. Choice of keywords and their meaning. So when you look at it, the phonological talks about sound phonemes, pronunciation. Here, if you don't take care, you spell it as H-E-R-E. Here. Meanwhile, I'm referring to hear, like listening. H-E-A-R. Hear. I'm talking about that one. Listening. I'm not talking about hear as in adverb of place. Peace. Peace. We have peace as in sound mind. And we have peace as something which is little. Peace. A piece of pen, a piece of bread. I hope you are getting it. So that one is phonological ambiguity. I can say advice. Advice. Which advice am I talking about? We have advice that ends with CE. And we have advice that ends with SE. Which one am I talking about? Phonological ambiguity. The problem is with sound phonemes or pronunciation. There are some particular tribes when they are mentioning a particular word or a particular alphabet, you see that there is a problem. It is inherent, it is natural. So that one is phonological ambiguity. The next one is lexical ambiguity. Choice of keywords and their meaning. Check these differences. So, lexical is the choice of keywords and their meaning, lexis and structure. Lexis talks about keywords. That is why way back in SHS and senior schools and JHS, at the lexis and structure session, we used to do synonyms, antonyms, verbs, adverbs, pronouns, nouns, adjectives. These are words, lexis. I hope it makes sense. So when we talk about lexis, we're talking about choice of keywords and their meaning. We are saying that there are some keywords, when you choose them, they could mean two different things altogether. We will discuss some of this shortly. When I talk about bank, B-A-N-K, bank. Bank is a keyword. So provided I say I'm going to bank, you see that in this sentence the keyword is the bank. I am going to bank. When you pick the bank, it could be interpreted in different ways. Bank could refer to a river bank. River bank. The bank could also refer to a financial institution. The bank could also refer to power bank. Bank. So the key word here could be interpreted in different ways. Come and see a port. Come and see a port. P-O-R-T. A port. What port is this? Are you referring to a computer port where we put a pen drive? Or you are talking about airports? So which port are you talking about? That one is lexical ambiguity. You could see that in all these two examples, the misleading was the keyword, the bank and the port. So that is what is called lexical ambiguity. The next one is structural ambiguity. Structural or grammatical, grammatical or structural ambiguity. We are saying that for the structural or the grammatical ambiguity, words or lexical unit, phrases, arrangements, there is a problem with words, lexical unit, or phrases, arrangement, and constructions. Structural. So we have seen that the lexicals, we are talking about keywords. But when you bring all these keywords together and you get a sentence, and at the end of the day, the entire sentence are misleading, then you get what's called structural ambiguity. It means that there's a problem with the words or the lexical unit, a group of lexical unit or phrases, their arrangement and their constructions. Lexical talks about the keywords itself, it is misleading. But the structure says that the entire sentence, the arrangement of the sentence, the construction of the sentence is misleading. That is what is called structural ambiguity. We will take our time and look at all of them one after the other in our subsequent videos. Because having understood These levels of ambiguity will help you to solve any and every question that you meet. Now, let me not hesitate to bring in how to answer examination question on ambiguity. I want you to know this one right from the beginning before we even tackle the 3 levels of ambiguity in deep of incarnation. Look at it carefully and understand the examination tip, how to solve examination question and ambiguity. I want you to know this one right from the beginning. Right from the beginning. For the sake of clear communication, we have to always reconstruct any ambiguous sentences to eliminate all the ambiguities in it. So it means that this semester, whatsoever you're going to do under ambiguity, the central focus, the central theme is to reconstruct any and every ambiguous sentences. And after the reconstruction of those ambiguous sentences, you have to make sure that you have eliminated all ambiguities. All ambiguity. It is all. So after the reconstruction of the ambiguous sentence which has been given to you, and then you are still getting ambiguous sentence, your answer is void ab initio. In law, we say that it is void from the beginning. It is zero from the beginning. It is nullity. 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 It is zero. So your central focus is to eliminate. I'm repeating. Is to eliminate. I'm repeating. Is to eliminate. Tell your friend that the central focus is to eliminate all ambiguities. Make sure that all ambiguities, all uncertainties are being taken away from the sentence. Number 2, in order to do so, always consider the available interpretations that are likely to be intended by the speaker and rewrite the sentence. I'm repeating. In order to do so, always consider the available interpretations that are likely to be intended by the speaker and rewrite the sentences. Let me explain. What do I mean by this? Remember, right from the beginning, I explained to you that when you talk about ambiguity, we are talking about a phenomenon or a situation whereby a grammatical unit or a linguistic unit can give 2 or more, 2 emphasize or more emphasize interpretations. 2 or more interpretations which are all recognized and accepted. Don't forget, if the sentence could only become ambiguous whereby it is given 2 or more interpretations, then in order to correct it, in order to eliminate the ambiguity, then make sure to consider the available interpretations, because 2 or more, then get to know the 2 or more interpretations. It means that if a sentence cannot give you 2 or more interpretations, then it is not ambiguous. I'm repeating. I'm serious here. If a sentence is not giving you 2 or more interpretation, then it is not ambiguous. We look at dangling, we look at misplaced. So understand it from here. Now that you have been able to establish the prima facie, it is a law word. prima facie, a hypothesis, a synopsis, the foundation or the background. Once you have been able to establish the basis that it has two or more meanings, then the next thing is to consider the available interpretations, because you have seen that it contains two or more interpretations. Yes, two or more interpretations. Then what is interpretation 1? What is interpretation 2? Or probably interpretation 3? Consider the available interpretations that are likely to be intended by the speaker. So you have written them down, or in your mind, you have gotten to know them. It could mean this. It could also mean this. It could also mean this. So in our subsequent videos, when we are solving questions, that's what we are going to do. We are not going to just write the answer down like that. No. I will ask you what might be the available interpretations. Give me the available interpretations. Then you analyze. It could be like this. It could also be like this. It could also be like this. So, okay, if it could be like this, it could also be like this. It could also be like this. Then what will be the rare one? That is what we are going to do. So, understanding from here, right from the beginning, always consider the available interpretations that are likely to be intended by the speaker, and rewrite the sentence by eliminating all the ambiguities in it. The next one is choose. The word is choose the form of words, or choose the sentence that is devoid of ambiguities. That is devoid of ambiguity. That is devoid of ambiguity. So choose the form of words that are devoid of ambiguities, or choose the form of a sentence. We have said that you bring all of them down. You list all of them down. And then when you list all of them down, we have interpretation 1, interpretation 2, interpretation 3, interpretation 4. You considered all of them, and then you make sure to choose the interpretation that is devoid of any ambiguity. Quickly, we have done ambiguity. We said that ambiguity is a phenomenon or a situation whereby a linguistic unit or a grammatical unit or a grammatical expression give two or more interpretations, of which all these interpretations are recognized and accepted. We also said that ambiguous sentence means that the sentence is unclear, confusing, and could be understood in two or more ways. We also said that when you talk about ambiguity, it is best known as wondering about something or being uncertain. Again, we proceeded to look at the types and the levels of ambiguity. We look at the first type of ambiguity to be planned ambiguity, and then unplanned ambiguity. And then we look at 3 levels of ambiguity. We look at phonological ambiguity, whereby we say that the problem is with the pronunciation, sound phonemes or pronunciation. And then we look at the second one, which is the lexical ambiguity. So the problem is with the keywords in the construction of the sentence. And then we look at the structural ambiguity. So the problem is with the entire construction of the sentence. From there, we look at examination tip, how to go about it. We said that for the sake of clear communication, we have to always reconstruct any ambiguous sentences to eliminate all the ambiguities in it. And to do so, we have to always consider the available interpretations that are likely to be intended by the speaker and rewrite the sentence. And we ended on the fact that we should choose the form of words that are devoid of ambiguity. Once again, my name is Possible, and I've been your tutor up to now. In our next lesson, we are going to look at phonological and lexical level of ambiguity. We are going to treat the levels one after the other. The levels one after the other. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and learn appropriately. Until we meet again another time, I will say bye-bye for now. Bye. I love you.